We're breaking down Star Trek Picard Episode 1 and where it goes from here. It's been 18 years. 18 long years since the last time we saw Jean-Luc Picard in 2002's Star Trek Nemesis, and even longer since Star Trek The Next Generation finished its television run. But the drought is finally over because the first episode of Star Trek Picard premiered this Thursday on CBS All Access, and it's safe to say that fans are on board.
Engage.
They set their phasers to yeah. And while the episode did a good job at reintroducing us to 24th century life 2 decades after we last saw it, there were a ton of lingering questions that all but the most die-hard fans were scratching their heads over, trying to figure out what exactly was going on. So let's break down the episode and its ominous ending right now.
Engage.
Now, of course, there's going to be spoilers aplenty for episode 1 of Picard in this episode, so if you haven't seen it yet, crank up some Klingon opera so you can't hear my voice. But if you are sticking around, help us live long and prosper by giving us a like and subscribing.
Engage.
So what exactly happened here? Well, the episode begins with Picard and Data playing poker in 10 forward on the Enterprise D. Now, obviously we knew something was up since the D is destroyed in Star Trek Generations, and Data sacrificed his life to save the Enterprise E during the events of Star Trek Nemesis. Now, many fans were worried this was Picard recreating great moments of his life and his friends on the holodeck, which just sounds like the saddest old man thing to do of all time, but thankfully, it turns out it was just a dream. But it's a dream where we watch Mars get blown the ever-loving hell up in the background, which is another surprise because in all the trailers, we assumed the planet being blown up would be Romulus, which Spock confirms happened in this timeline in the 2009 Star Trek Kelvin timeline. Picard awakens at his family vineyard, Chateau Picard, with his dog, Number 1, and his 2 Romulan friends who survived the destruction of Romulus. Now, we're treated to a bit of an exposition dump in the form of a hostile interview on the anniversary of the destruction of Romulus, and we learn that Picard convinced the Federation to send a rescue fleet to save the Romulans, who actually asked for help. So if they asked for help, you know things were pretty bad. This was basically like Space Dunkirk, as Picard so aptly mentions. But you also learned there was another tragedy. Synthetic beings, aka androids, were helping build the flotilla at the Utopia Planitia at Mars, and they launched a terrorist attack that killed 90,000 living beings and ignited fires in the atmosphere that are still burning to this day. In this interview, we also learn why Picard resigned from/quit Starfleet, since they used the attack as an excuse to not save these desperate Romulans, thereby breaking their promise. And Picard wasn't willing to sit by and watch so many innocent lives be lost by inaction.
There were millions of lives at stake.
Romulan lives.
No. Lives.
Now, to Picard, this betrayed the entire utopian creed of the Federation and Starfleet. And the fact that the Federation also used the attack to outlaw synthetic beings, that was just icing on this deeply crappy cake. While all this is happening, we meet a young woman named Dahj. She's celebrating her acceptance as a research fellow in the famed Daystrom Institute, the Federation's premier research and technology center, when all of a sudden masked assassins kill her boyfriend and attempt to kidnap her. She then activates and hands them their own asses on a silver platter. It's honestly awesome. Afterward, she has a vision of Picard's face, and when she sees Jean-Luc's interview on TV, she knows she has to go to him. While Picard doesn't recognize her, they both admit there's something going on there, so he invites her to stay. But she runs off in the middle of the night, afraid to bring danger to his doorstep. Meanwhile, Picard has another dream with Data doing another one of his favorite pastimes, painting. When Picard awakens, he sees Data's painting hanging on his wall and awakens to the news that Dahj has fled in the night. Picard goes to his personal archives in Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco, aka the Convention Center in Anaheim. See you there at WonderCon. It's a room that's filled with a ton of awesome next-gen Easter eggs like the Picard Day banner and models of the USS Stargazer and his captain's yacht. There, he learns that Data painted 2 versions of this painting, and the woman in the painting is actually the spitting image of Dahj. What's more, the painting is called Daughter. Now, this brings to mind the Next Gen Season 3 episode, The Offspring, in which Data attempts to create an android daughter based on his own neural network, who tragically dies by the end of the episode. Dahj uses hacking skills she didn't even realize that she had to track down Picard once more, who gives her news that she wasn't ready for, that she's somehow a Cylon! Sorry, I mean a flesh and blood synthetic, and also probably Commander Data's daughter. Of course, they're attacked once more, and it's revealed that their assailants are Romulan. Now, if we're to wager a guess, we'd say they're Tal Shiar, the feared and brutal intelligence agency of the Romulan Empire. And though Dodge fights valiantly, she's ultimately killed by some weird mix of poison, acid, and an exploding weapon. Now, her death finally kicks Picard into action, and he pays a visit to the Daystrom Institute, and it's there that he meets Alison Pill's Dr. Agnes Jurati, and also what's left of the Federation's decimated android division. He learns that if indeed Dodge was a synth, the technology needed to create her is still 1,000 years off. In this second massive exposition scene, we get two other next-gen deep cuts. Now, the first is the android B4, who was introduced as Data's stupider brother in Nemesis. And while Data tried to download himself into B4 before his death, we learn here it was not successful because B4 was just too damn stupid. This is why I'm an only child. Now, the other piece of information is that the former head of that research department and creator of the synths that ended up going rogue on Mars, Bruce Maddox, went missing. Now, if that name sounds familiar, that's because Bruce Maddox is first introduced in the Season 2 episode of Next Generation, Measure of a Man. He wants to study Data without Data's consent because he believes androids are not truly living beings. Data and Picard, however, prove Data's personhood to Starfleet, and then Maddox ends the episode as much less of a dick and with a newfound respect for Data. It's honestly one of the best episodes of the first two seasons, and you should absolutely rewatch it if you haven't seen it in a while. In the Next Gen 4th season episode, Data's Day, we know that Maddox continued his android research with Data's blessing, and according to Dr. Jurati, he was getting very close to creating Data-level synthetics until the ban on synth development came down from Starfleet. This led to Maddox disappearing, but we also learned that he had a theory that Data's essence and memories could be recreated from just one of his positronic brain neurons. Now, this means that if Dodge was Data's daughter, a piece of him might still be out there that could recreate Data. Now, Dr. Jurati also drops another truth bomb on the audience that Maddox's androids were created in pairs, as twins, meaning that Data has another daughter out there. Damn, dude was busy. This is also confirmed at the end of the episode when we see the new Romulan warbirds at a Romulan reclamation site where Daj's twin, Soji, works as a scientist. What she knows about her own past is unclear, but she's most certainly in grave danger, especially when the ending reveals that this Romulan reclamation site is a Borg cube that's being dismantled by the Romulans to some unknown end. So where do things go from here? Well, Picard's continuing mission seems twofold. He needs to A, track down Soji and save her, and B, bring back Data's essence. He also wants to find Bruce Maddox, who definitely knows more about what's actually going on here. And it's important to note that in this episode, we haven't even met most of the new characters teased in Picard's trailers, and we also haven't seen cameos from returning characters like Riker, Troy, Hugh, and Seven of Nine. But we'll be waiting with bated breath for each new episode of Picard to drop on Thursdays on CBS All Access. But in the meantime, tell me, what did you folks think? Did you enjoy Picard's premiere? Did you enjoy all of these mysteries being teased out? And who was the better number one, Riker or the Pitbull? Be honest, let's discuss. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, why not give us a like and subscribe while you're at it? And if you want to get notified every time we go live with a new show or drop a new video, please feel free to mash that little bell. That way you can be up to date on all the latest theories, news, and rumors in the pop culture world.